Hey, I'm Yoad. Welcome to my studio. This is part 2 in the mix walkthrough series. If you haven't done so already, I recommend watching part 1. I have another video about mix prep, going into a lot of details about editing and all that. I'm not going to get into that here because this is a mix workflow. We're going to assume that this has been already done. I usually get it done by my assistants, so I'm not going to bother with that because these videos are about the sound of the mix. Here we're going to start looking at the drums. Now it's really important to set up the level correctly. I'm going to set the level so the bass drum peaks at around -12 or something like that. And then I'm going to add the SSL channel. The reason I use SSL channel plugins is because I mixed hundreds, if not thousands of songs on SSL boards. This is my favorite mixer for mixing analog, and I've done that for years. And this is what I'm used to. This is how I approach a mix. So I will start with the channel. If I can get everything done using just the channel, then I'm happy. If I need external outboard, in this case it would be other plugins, then I'll add them on top. So let's start with that. We can use the expander to gate the kick. Now I don't mind a little bit of spill, but I'm not losing anything from the kick. The next thing I will do is find the boxy frequency and get rid of it. That will make the kick sound better, but it will also clear room for the bass. Somewhere here. And then we're going to add some lows. We don't need anything below 50, 60. Maybe 40. This kick is tuned quite high, and I think that this suits the song because it makes it punchy and it makes it really easy for the kick to cut through the mix. I'm going to find a nice kind of pointy frequency for the kick. It may seem much now, but with everything playing, you will see that we're going to have to add more at the later stage. I just know it. Let's compress it a little bit. It's very steady, so it's not for the level, it's more for the sound. Since it's tuned very high, I'm going to try something and let's see later if it works with this song. So I'm going to try using torque. It's a 4-man shifter. So and we can lower the focus. Usually, I don't really bother with the kick out because I can add plenty of lows if I need to, so I'm not really bothered with that. Let's move on to the snare. Nice, high-pitched, SSL channel. A lot of people write to me and ask whether I get paid by Waves or anything like that. Absolutely not. The reason I use Waves plugins is because I worked on the development of these plugins. I've worked on over 100 plugins for Waves, so I know exactly what they do. I know what they do under the hood, and I've also created most of the factory presets for these and most of the other Waves plugins. So yeah, of course I will work with Waves. I like other companies too, but this is just how I work. So I love the bell at the default frequency, 8K. Brings the snare right up. Some punch. Again, it may sound too much right now, but we will need it. Now, there's always the question of whether to use the fast attack, which makes everything kind of more slick, controlled, great for pop, but it loses the punch, or to use the slow attack, which makes everything more punchy. And we'll see later on which one we're going to use on this track. The snare bottom is really important because it gives a lot of the kind of length of the snare. And let's hear them together. Very loud at the moment. One thing to check is whether these two mics are in phase, because we have two mics facing each other. The snare skin is here, so basically they're out of phase. When I record drums, I always reverse the phase on the bottom mic. Here it's hard to tell because this is quite clipped, but I think it's okay. And the way to test it will be to flip the phase and see whether it improves the sound. We have more lows, which means they're in phase. That's a nice sounding snare. Let's move on to the hi-hat. Just gonna leave it as it's for now. Overheads. Overheads is the most important element of the drum kit because this is the sound of the drum kit. The other drums are there just to give focus to the overheads, but this is the heart of the drum kit. Now what I'm hearing is the snare is dragging a little bit to the left because the kick drum is here and the snare is here. So if we have the mics over the cymbals, we will get that. I'm going to correct that and I'm going to use the imager in order to maybe rotate the channels, or if I need to, make some other manipulations in the stereo feed. I'm going to start by simple rotation. That sounds better. Let's see what else we can do. Yeah, now I'm getting the peaks more evenly. Now we can hear that the hi-hat is on the right, which means it was recorded from the audience perspective. So since we have this setup, I'm going to flip the mics and I'm going to mirror the setup to the other way. So here we had 22, it becomes negative 22. Here we have 18.5, it becomes negative 18.5. And this should sound the same, but flipped. Okay, I'm happy with that. Let's listen to the room. This is a little bit phasey. I'm going to narrow down the image. This sounds to me a little bit more pleasant. And here I'm hearing dragging to the right. Yes. Something like that. This room is quite small, so I'm going to enhance it by using the Universal Audio Sound City Studios IRs. Just a little bit. And it blends really nice. It sounds quite natural. Let's hear what we have so far. We haven't looked at the center mic. Let's see without it. Okay, the room is quite loud. Overs are quite loud, but it's good. Let's see what this mic says. Nice and punchy, actually. I'm going to lower the room mics, but I'm going to add, actually I'm going to use just the wet, maybe 80%. Nice. Let's bring in the percussion. Something like that, okay. Now we have the basic drum sound. This is going to change a lot throughout the mix. I wanted to get the kit sounding natural, punchy. I know what everything does. I'm happy with that, and I can start adding the rest of the tracks on top of that. We'll start with the bass. That will be in the next video. Like I said, this is going to change throughout the mix because vocals are going to be introduced, synths, guitars, and all that. I'm going to increase the punch level of everything. I'm going to add more lows to the kick, I know it, more brightness to the snare, more or less overheads and room, depending on how they interact with the rest of the tracks and the general vibe of the song. But this is a good starting point. We will continue in the next video.